breakfast show on Nile TV International, and we will be starting our first segment first by discussing the history of Sham al-Nisim, actually, which means inhaling the breeze, and it's derived from the word Shimu, which is one of the months of the ancient Egyptian calendar. It's an ancient Egyptian tradition which continued from pharaonic times up to present day, and on that day the Egyptians celebrated it by going out to the fields, enjoying it, eating salted fish and a lot of vegetables, green vegetables like the onions, the lupino beans, and many other vegetables, green vegetables especially. And today, to shed more light on the history of that feast, I'm happy to have with me Egyptologist Dr. Mamdouh Farouk. Welcome with us, doctor.
Welcome for all of you. I would like to say in Egyptian welcome, Nefer Shimu Herten.
And what does it mean? Nefer is beautiful?
Yes, it's a beautiful Shimu, the harvest season, the first day of the spring season.
Yes.
That's what I would like to greet our viewers.
So Nefer Shimu Herten for you as well. Well, first of all, I'd like to know the historical background of actually Sham al-Nisim.
Yes, as you introduced in your introductions about all Egyptians coming out at this day to the picnic, the green space and the zoo and some entertainment sites, that is very pleasure. And we have enriched that from our Egyptian custom and traditions. This event is dating back to almost 4,500 years ago, or we can exactly 2,700 years before Christianity, at the end of the third dynasty. When Egyptians were more celebrations, more festival relating to the gods. So Egyptians were celebrating all the year. The world of the three seasons. The season, okay, we divide it in three seasons. Akhet is an inundation season. The Perit is sowing seeds season, and the last one is called Shimu. Shimu is the last season as a harvest or the maturing of the plant. This is the issue, is related to agricultural events.
So actually, so that our viewers would understand more, because they were three seasons, so each season lasted 4 months.
Yes.
So Sham al-Nisim actually was celebrated for 4 months, which is the months of the harvest.
Yes. Some people think that is the Sham al-Nisim day, the one day. It wasn't one day, it was many days. It's called the spring festival, not festivals. That were celebrating exactly, or in particular in New Kingdom, the when Egyptians, the world were traveling and going out to introduce the offering for the gods at the temple in the west side of the Thebes. So they invented these days. I will tell you something, the very important issue, that these spring days, they're starting from the 21 of March, that the sun was vertically shining on the Great Pyramid, and all the people that was gathering in front of this pyramid will celebrate, and they waiting for watching the movement of the sun, that the pyramid that was sectional into half. This is a very important phenomena that happened in 21 of March, at the beginning of spring.
So that was like the serious mark, the inundation, the sun shedding light on half of the pyramids mark the beginning of the spring. Now I'd like to ask you, doctor, is it true that the mythology or the legend of the destruction of mankind is related to Sham al-Nisim?
Not the mankind destructions.
But the celebration of it, of ending it?
Yeah, there is a celebrating of the Sekhmet.
Yeah.
The goddess Sekhmet is related to this mythical story. But I will tell you the very important story about the killing of Osiris. Osiris, he is a god of afterlife, is a god of fertility, the worshipped by people in Egyptian people all over the world, all over the country. So when the Osiris killed, it means that when his wife Isis, they were weeping on his body. They were weeping and the tears were falling. It's an inundation like the river Rhine flood. And after then, when they buried the dead body of the Osiris appearing, that means it is sowing the seeds, is a second phase or the second season. And the last season related to the resurrection of Osiris, the plant growing up again from his body. It means resurrection and afterlife. So we can see the relation between agriculture season, according to the mythical story, the killing and burying and the resurrection of the god Osiris, the god of afterlife.
So it's related to actually more the myth of Osiris rather than that of the destruction of mankind and people, because most of our viewers
save
don't know
people
it.
from destruction, yes.
Yeah, because there was the lioness goddess who wanted to kill the human beings, and then it's a long adventure, but finally the gods managed to prevent her from doing so, and then the Egyptians go out to celebrate that they were saved. So actually there are two stories, and are they both related to the spring festival?
Yes, we have a festival of introducing to get a blessing from Sekhmet. That is the god is a merciful of the people. That is the very meaning of the relation between the god and the people in the ancient Egyptian concept. I will tell you some other festivals that's related to the spring days.
Yes, please.
We can say, let me tell you about the festival of Renut. Renut is a goddess of the harvest that introducing some bouquet of the corn, of grain, of wheat that introducing from this god. Renut and Nipri, the god and the goddess of the grain or the harvest. And I can tell you the very important another festival, the god mean. The god mean is related to the fertility. The when lettuce and wheat introduced for him, that the king were gathering all the people to introduce it to the temple of the mean. And when transformed to the second month, I will tell you the feast is a beautiful feast of the valley. Is a main festival that happened is related to Shem Nisim. Shem Nisim, I didn't tell you that Shem and Sim, it means the maturing of the plant. It's the meaning of the harvest season. So we can, it's a beautiful feast of the valley. It means all the people that gather with the king. Okay, from the eastern bank of the Karnak, the temple Karnak, and crossing the river Nile with boat, loading with the parts of the shrine of the gods, God Ammon and his wife Mut and their son Khonsu, and was referring to across the river Nile to the western bank, and the people or the public people, okay, or say Egyptian citizens, they were interested to visit their relative the dead ones as a beloved, to introduce for them the offering.
Yes.
This is very close to what we can do in our cemetery, the visiting of cemetery in all the festivals. This is relating. This is the second festival. It's very similar to the Shem Nisim or the Shem Nisim day.
Now, for the rituals in the temples itself, now, what type of rituals would have taken place in the temples in celebration of Shem Nisim? What type of offerings would have been placed on the altars? Would you tell us more about the religious ceremony itself?
Yes, this is a very important question. According to the offering list that was inscribed on the 8th temple, okay, and the Habu temple, they're very important. You are a tour guide, you know that. That's the whole list.
I used to be.
Yes. The offering list including lettuce, green onion, okay, and lapins or lapins seeds or laments, okay, as the malana or the seed. These were the very important offering that introduces the God to get blessing for him, like the God meat. I can introduce for him lettuce. The God Ammon is the God of the hidden one of the ear, is the universal God. That's very important. All the offerings that were found beside shrine and temples that prove that the old Egyptians were interested to introduce that offering of the kind of the food. Wine, we found the wine powers. We found some fragments of the bread that is meant at the offering, like Shem Nisim, and going out to the picnic.
Yes, now that's the religious section. Now, unfortunately, we have very few records of the regular people's lives, because most of what we found, these are the noblemen and these are the kings' artifacts. But you're a researcher in the social life of the ancient Egyptian. Now, how would an average Egyptian, not the wealthy or the kings, would have celebrated Shem Nisim or Shemu?
Yes, the common people or citizen people, Egyptian, the common people, public citizen, it's called Rikhit. Rikhit is all public Egyptians. Okay, there was a very, we can say it's 2 million, 3 million in the New Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the word wretched as the numerous number. Okay,
Yes.
and they were the gathering on some the capital or the political capital or religious capital in ancient Egypt, like Memphis, like Thebes, like Hnesia. This is all the capital of Egypt. Were gathering around River Nile. That you know that the word gathering and goes down, the went down to the River Nile banks. That means all the people were interested, and the race. A very important and close relation between the Egyptian people and the God, and the king, sorry, because the king is a mediator between the God and the Egyptian people. It's a very important issue I have to mention.
Yes. So actually also I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they'll be wearing their best outfits, they'll be giving each other lotus flowers. Why the lotus? What's the significance of the lotus flower?
When we search on the term of Sham Nissim, we can find that it's as knifing priest, knifing Sham Nissim. The lotus flower is a symbol of resurrection. The old Egyptian woman in inscription and the wall inscription scenes that were represented as the one is knifing the lotus flower that are getting another praise in afterlife. There's a very important issue I have to mention it. The very lotus flower, and there is a theory of creation that the God atom is Nefertum is going forth or went forth from the lotus flower. As the lotus flower as a smelling, a taste, is very important as a symbol of other. And the Akhenaton and his family introducing lotus flower to the God Aton in some scenes. And we can see here that the lotus flower is a very extracted flower that was oil or extracted from here that was used in healing or perfume.
Yes.
They're very important.
Well, also they will be eating salted fish made out of grey mullet, as well as onions and lettuce. And actually onions is quite also an interesting and important plant. We always see it on the offering table, even of the rich and the noblemen as well. So would you tell us a bit about the components of offering tables in ancient Egypt as well?
We can talk about the salted fish or the mullet, the grey mullet.
Yes.
Grey mullet. The salting of the fish is relating to the ceremony that was done on Osiris' dead body. The mummification process that was done by the covering the dead body, there was a natural salt. We can salting this fish as a salting or mummified the Osiris god. And we can talk about the green onion. The green onion was a plot or was clothing. There was people in the cemetery, they were visiting the relative, the dead relatives, okay? That was to repel the evil soul from the tombs.
Yes.
Because the smell is very bad. I can't stand this smell. This repel the evil soul from the cemetery or the tomb that they were visited from the relative.
Well, I'd like also to ask you about the calendar list. Since we're talking about festivities, can we talk before we wrap this segment about the calendar list of the festivals?
Yes, we have 12 months. The 12 months they was divided or including the three seasons, okay? And we can, the first, it Webet Rembet. Webet Rembet is 19th of July, the beginning of the year or starting of the year. The Webet Rembet, okay? It's the called of Tehut festival, it's the beginning. And we say, I will talk about the spring festival. We have the mentions the 4 months of the spring over summer.
Yes, and on the walls, like at Komombo, we had all these lists depicted so that the priest will do all the various festivities.
Komombo and Edfu and Habu temple was erected by the king Ramses III. The world list all the festival for the god Sobek, the goddess Isis, and we have the last 5 days. You know that the year is divided into 365 years. 360 yes. And 5 the extra.
We will be now moving to another segment. I'd like to thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now moving on to Nermin. Well, we can see that Nermin is interacting with the youth, and we can see that they are, if we look around, we can see that they are actually playing on the ground, they are coloring. And we'll be having a break and we'll be back.
contemporary Egypt can feel very removed from its pharaonic past. But modern-day Egyptians do keep some customs of their ancestors alive through one notable tradition, and that is the annual observance of Sham el-Nissim, an ancient Egyptian spring festival that is celebrated to this day by Muslims and Christians in Egypt alike. Today, the early morning brings out millions of Egyptians on Sham el-Nissim who crowd open green spaces, even if that means ending up sitting on grassy patches next to roads due to the scarcity of public parks and open areas in Cairo. People go to gardens. They go there to celebrate the display and scent of plants. It should be noted that many hotels in Egypt provide specials for this holiday, so it can be a fun time for all, including tourists. This is the best part for the whole family. They usually go to the Cairo Zoo in the early morning, but the first thing they do is coloring the eggs, and they serve it as a small artworks to enjoy at picnics.